Right.
But in the beginning, the whole town was not really for art, wasn't it? Because they didn't see art as they saw it as a hobby, but not as a career. And it wasn't anything wrong. It just was what it was, kind of thing.
Yeah, and also because we were very English speaking in an Afrikaans speaking town.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me, you know, so
We were aliens, really.
we weren't part of their tribe at all. So
Yeah.
that was another thing, you know. But it certainly got us to dig deep and draw from our inner strengths, really.
And do you want to tell the story about how you actually asked the principal if you could show art, and how you had to show him your portfolio and lift up your artwork? I'll tell it, but basically we had to lift up our sleeves to show that we weren't drug addicts. Because that's how art was viewed in the town. As scary as that is to say, art was viewed as basically anything connected to art was drugs. So you went in, showed the principal that, listen, we're actually pretty normal. And then he took to us and he turned around completely, didn't he? He was amazing.
Absolutely. And I remember we were invited to decorate the hall, remember?
Yes.
And it was, he was saying, or they were saying, it was the best decoration ever since the history of the school.
And we used toilet paper.
Toilet paper.
We used toilet paper. Oh my word. That's this.
So,
and then, but then at that point, at that point, you had moved out of the AB Electronics, and this is when Alan and Natty stepped in, isn't it? No, not Alan, and Andy and Natty stepped in.
Yes, that's right. So there were English-speaking people who owned an art supply shop very, very close to that electrical shop, and obviously word got around very quickly because it's a small town. So and we were definitely on the same page as what's Natalie
and Andy Pellet.
Andy Pellet, yeah. And we got on so well. And he said, listen here, you know, just use my art supply shop, and then it'll help, you know, to draw in customers, and then you can teach there. So it was, I mean, that was a miracle, really, major miracle. It just all fell into place.
But if you think about it, oh, sorry, Karen.
Yeah, so he almost became a father figure to you. You know, he was very protective, and he said, look, you know, Laura, you're a single woman with a child, so if anything goes wrong, or I'll protect Justine, whatever. And I thought they were just so lovely. I mean, his wife was really lovely. They were just very supportive people. So I think it's the first time we ever got emotional support, which we were craving, really.
Yeah. But if you think about it, you had a quick turnaround in under a year. You built from nothing, from us living in a garage. That didn't take long, because that was the whole, because if I was in standard 7 for that year, and then from that time when we moved out into the garage, we obviously we moved it because at one point we were homeless, and we were and what you did was you went, okay, well, I remember you going, there's no point in crying over spilt milk, let's do this, come on. You're practicing your decorating and your exercise skills, we're moving again, let's go. and then you came up with the idea of house sitting for people, and we started house sitting to have a room to stay for the night. Yes, and that seemed, and that we did that, and then eventually you built it up to a point where you were quite well known. I was quite well known in the school industry, in the school, and the teaching and the calligraphy. So how long would you say that was? Because that wasn't long at all.
No, it wasn't. And then teaching, starting a Kalanetic school as well.
Yes, yes.
He really worked hard day and night. Boy, there was never any free time except for the weekend where well, I would just totally collapse. No, sleep for full 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. You know, I hadn't even thought about how long it took. I was just in that zone just to make sure there was enough money for rent and food and your school fees and not even entertainment, because nobody invited us. Very few people invited us anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, it was almost like living in a horror movie.
It was, and because for the viewers out there, I mean, you know, I remember, because we had a language barrier, how I got through it was I used to bribe my school mates, and I would draw all their biology drawings, and then they would do my essays for me in the language, because I could not. And I remember sitting at the assemblies going, what is he saying? What are they saying? What does that mean? Don't know what that means. And then I had to try, and then when I got that job, that waitressing job, the people were tough. They were really tough. They were like, if you don't speak our language, we're not even going to acknowledge you. You're dirt as far as we're concerned. And I remember standing there, and I was shaking, and I'm going to the table, and I'm going, can I take you on? And I go, you must speak in our language. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I said, okay, let me just think the words. So I'd have to write it down, and I go, and then I'd say slowly, do you want? And they go, oh, just speak English. I go, oh, thank you. Would you like a cup of tea or coffee, or what drink would you like? I said, oh, you can speak English. That's really nice. And I remember people just really being not accommodating at all. I wouldn't even say they were, you know, and understandably, because if you're not part of that tribe or that culture, or there's something that's new that's come in, you know, people are scared. So it wasn't that they were wrong, it wasn't that we were wrong. We were just trying to get a zebra and a lion to get on, and it just was not working. It was just completely crazy.